Glazers get out and go home back to the USA?
In 2005, American business family the Glazers succeeded in buying Manchester United, one of the most profitable sporting brands in the world, for around €880 million. The bulk of the money to purchase the club was borrowed, and overnight Manchester United found itself plunged into debt with annual interest repayments of some €68 million. The fans were furious, and United the business found itself in a completely different world, a world made more insecure by the financial crisis.
What happens with companies where they've got a lot of debt is often you'll find is unless their core business can grow and actually make profits and be able to actually grow over a period of time, what you'll find is more of that money is being drained away just to pay for the debt. Now, it's fine having a reasonable level of debt, that can be acceptable. Debt can help you expand. What they're now trying to do is restructure some of that debt. So what they've done is said, right, we're going to go out and we're going to borrow another £500 million, and some of that's going to be used to pay back some of the old debt that we had. But look under the other pages of this document. You'll find some other things going on. Out of this £500 million, it'll enable the Glazers to take out £130 million for themselves. It'll also enable them to take out some additional charges as well for administration and other fees, and also a dividend. So actually it's a rather covert, because it wasn't immediately obvious to anyone reading the document, way of the Glazers being able to take yet more money out of the company, whilst at the same time ensuring they've got still the level of debt there. From a totally selfish point of view of themselves, I think it's a fantastic position, a deal they probably couldn't do in 2 or 3 years' time. From the position of Manchester United, I think it's awful.
The club is now in the grip of a full-blown protest known as the Green and Gold Movement, where fans show their opposition to the Glazer family by wearing the colours of United's founding club, Newton Heath. More than 90,000 fans have joined the Manchester United Supporters Trust, and a group of well-heeled United fans known as the Red Knights are attempting to raise more than €1 billion to make an offer for the club. The movement has implications for football across the continent.
What's been allowed to happen at Manchester United with a huge amount of cash, hundreds of millions of pounds being siphoned out of the club, is absolutely disgraceful. The game has really got to get a serious grip at itself. And we've got to look across the channel to France and Germany, where they take financial control and sustainability far more seriously. We'd like to see a very stringent test on any new owner that's undertaken before anybody's allowed to buy the club. And that doesn't only include just whether they've got a criminal record, that should include whether they've got the funds on what their plans are. We want people to invest in the game. What we don't want is the huge cash withdrawal slip that we see written every month at Old Trafford. You have to understand that sport cannot be run like any other business in a competitive market. If I don't like the supermarket I use, I can go to another one. It's often said that you can change your job, you can change your house, you can even change your partner. What you can't do is change your football club. Football clubs are part of the community in which they reside, and they're a social and cultural institution, not a way of making money. And I think that the confidence trick that the Glazers played on this football in this country and the club has finally been rumbled.
Tony Lloyd is the Labour MP for Manchester Central and is well aware of the importance of the club to the city, its people and sport in the country.
Well, I think in the long run, what I would like to see, quite honestly, is that there is some ability of the supporter, the people who did build this club, to be recognised in the decision-making structures of the club. I think that would be good for the whole football family in England. We see this already, by the way, in for example, the German league system, where the football fan is recognised as part of the stakeholder of football. Ditto in clubs like Barcelona, owned by its supporters. I don't think it's unreasonable for us to say that that's a direction of travel. I think in the shorter term, I do think there has to be some pressure on all football clubs, not just Manchester United, but all football clubs in England, to say that levels of debt that put the future of the club in financial jeopardy is not in the interests of football. And the model that says a football club is only a business is now an outdated one, and we do need regulation at different levels, the European level, as I've said, at the national level, and even down to the level of the individual club, to make sure that other stakeholders, not simply the debt holders and the shareholders, have their rights recognised.
Since 1868, the Manchester Evening News has been covering events in the city. The current sports editor, Peter Spencer, has followed the Glazer takeover and the subsequent green and gold protests at close quarters.
When they first took over, they gave statements. They have a slick PR operation based in London, and they've never given any interviews in this country, and only very infrequently in America, like odd statements from time to time given to the American media, who perhaps don't understand the intricacies of United like we do. This is a classic sports news story. It goes across all interest groups in Manchester. It's not just for the fans, it's got financial implications, it's got a sense of rebellion about it, and it's something that we haven't necessarily got behind, but we've covered in great detail. I think it's a grand strategy that they've adopted. It's so cleverly done, it's subtle, it's making an impact just every single week. There's just a little bit more happening, but I think they need some heavyweight support now, and by that I mean like the manager or people on the board or players or something that's going to lift it again, because at the moment it's kind of ordinary fans who together become very important, but at the moment it's people who want to rebel. And you've got to bear in mind that whilst the team's winning most matches, it means that there's less chance of a fully blown rebellion.
As kick-off time approaches on another freezing night in Manchester, the fans are warming up.
Every Manchester United supporter who puts £1 into the club, 75 pence of that goes into the debt hole. And obviously we don't like what the Glazers had been doing, and because of the new £500 million bond arrangement, the Glazers can literally plunder and exploit Manchester United to an extent which they haven't done before. Well, obviously we're asking every Manchester United supporter to embrace the green and gold, to join the Supporters Trust. It's changing from a campaign to a large movement. Obviously every single Manchester United supporter has a role to play, along with the Red Knights. We're currently trying to put a deal together and to eventually make an offer to the Glazers for the future supporter ownership of Manchester United.
The Glazers declined to be interviewed and Man United ignored requests to contribute, but the fans are only too happy to speak.
I think most United fans would just like to see the club owned by someone that actually cares about Manchester United, about the city and about the fans, and basically run in a more responsible manner rather than money going out of the club for reasons other than football.
Ticket prices going up all the time, all the prices in the ground with the beer prices and everything else in there, so we're just being ripped off, I think.
Just to say, American Glazer, enough is enough. Do you want? This is our club, these are our colours, we want our club back.
What are they doing? I mean, they're just milking the club. They're not running anything.
Exactly.
We are a world well-known brand. We don't need Glazers to sell us. We sell ourselves.
The Glazer family have slapped a not-for-sale sign on Manchester United, but that's unlikely to deter supporters who want them out of Old Trafford.